Hello, YouTube. It's Lefty79 once again joining you here at the NFL Stableford League studios in beautiful Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and the end of a summer, holiday weekend. Well, Labor Day holiday weekend, the end of summer. It was 90 degrees here yesterday, so we'll see if that continues. But the weather's hot outside, but the league is also hot as well, as we have the NFL Summer League wrap up and power rankings heading into this Thursday's Week 1 kickoff in the NFL Stableford League. I'm really excited to bring this to you. I haven't done one of these in a bit. I did have another video regarding the state of the league, just to get the vocal cords going again and get my segues better, because I was saying the same thing a lot throughout the video. But you know what? That's fine. I mean, so I say as it is a lot, but it's better than saying I don't know. So, but that's just how my brain processes, and bear with it. It'll get better as the season goes on. It's just I'm trying to get back into the swing of things here. And well, speaking of getting back in the swing of things, it's the Minnesota Vikings, who ended up at 0-2. Andrew's only able to get a couple games in the summer league. He ended up losing to the Seahawks 32-24 and losing to the Titans 21-17 in a defensive battle. He has a week 1 matchup at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The commissioner, well, me, just upped his handicap to 4 points because I know how much he's been struggling this past summer in the baseball and in football. So hoping that it gets him a little bit more competitive, and he gets back into I'm in his division, so I really don't want to set him off or anything here. But as it is, there it is again. The Vikings are a rival of the Packers, and I just want to see a good competitive rivalry. Nothing against that. So. And you'll notice the players are a little bit old. I'm using last year's version of Madden yet because I really didn't want to use the free trial one because it takes forever to download. And this one actually downloaded pretty fast from EA Play. So there's that. So that's why Dalvin Cook is still listed as a Viking. We'll see if that comes back to bite him in this actual upcoming season. But we're going to head off from number 32. I'm going to try to get through these a little bit quicker, so it's not an hour and a half long video. But we're going to go to number 31 on our power rankings. And that's going to be I forgot it's by team name. It's not by city. It's the Carolina Panthers of Polecat. Polecat's been in the league since the beginning. Had a little bit of a rough summer league, but I think he was in pretty much every game. He got kind of ran into a buzzsaw against his consolation bracket opponent, the Chargers, because Trevor just went off. But Carolina ended up 0-4. They lost to Kansas City 33-28. That was Chinatown in Summer League. He lost also 31-23 to the Giants, which there's no shame in that. And then lost to the Lions 29-25 to end the actual regular season, the regular preseason. And then that loss to the Chargers in the bracket play. Good to see, the 28 points is good. I mean, the scoring was definitely there for Carolina. In the mid-20s is where you really want to be. He's got a full 4-point handicap, so we'll see if the new rookie quarterback coming in can jumpstart the team. Christian McCaffrey's long gone, but this is definitely a team that's rebuilding, and it starts on the road at Atlanta in week 1, a division rival right out of the gate. So this could be a good one in terms of the Carolina Panthers really don't have anything to lose, and they have everything to gain. So as it is, good luck to Polecat. I think he might surprise some people this year. I definitely even seen some improvements, especially in baseball. I saw some as well. So as we move into number 30, let's find out who that's going to be. and it is the guy who actually asked about this show. It's Zuby and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yep. Goodbye, Tom Brady. Uh, Tampa Bay 1-3 in the summer league. Started off with a loss to Penn Knights Steelers, 28-24. Then a loss again, another 4-point loss to the Chargers, 25-21. And then the Jets got a big win, a 1-point win. Wasn't enough to get them into the round of 16 though, as they did lose to the Vikings, who were controlled by Cobra Chicken, Marcus, as he had taken them over for Andrew, and got a 26-24 defeat there. So Zuby, a little bit up and down in the scoring column, but you know what? It's his first year in Tampa Bay. I think he's got a good outlook. It seems like it's a pretty wide open division in the NFC South this year. So you have Atlanta and Carolina, who I just mentioned, and then you got the Saints. So you got to figure Atlanta's probably the favorite, but you know Zuby's going to give it his all, and it starts in week 1, as we mentioned, against Minnesota on the road in the Dome in US Bank Stadium. So that'll be a good one, a matchup of former NFC Central rivals there. As we now hit number 29, we go from one bay to the other. Unfortunately for me, it wasn't really a great summer league, as the Packers still not really recovering from that loss of Rodgers too well. I mean, we had to deal him, but you know, it's tough to move on from a Hall of Fame quarterback. Packers ended up 1-3. Started off good, beating the Bengals 27-23. Then a tough loss to New England. Belichick had our number. Carroll definitely had them playing well, 29-23. And then another loss to Seattle. The defense just couldn't hold them. Lost by a field goal, 29-26. So that knocked us into the consolation where we ended up losing to the Bengals, 29-27. So that was, you know, 2 games against the Bengals and split them. So that's why the Packers are where they are. Just kind of an up and down summer league, and ended up going 1-3. And just I think Seattle's going to be good this year, and New England's probably going to be definitely threatening for playoffs in that AFC East. So Green Bay, no shame really, but yeah, you really would have liked to have seen them go a little further if it was me, when it was me, but just didn't have the points to move on. But that's neither here nor there, as it's too late now, as we now head to Chicago to start the season, week 1. Well, I don't know if the Packers will own them anymore, so we'll see what happens. But we have a new owner down in Chicago, Tony Runkabus. Really glad he's in the league. I know he likes to play live, so might end up happening with crossplay this year. I didn't even mention that in my state of the league. It's so much easier with crossplay now. We didn't have that in the last season up until maybe the third update it came in, and I think we were already in baseball by then. So I think crossplay was March, like right around EA time. So we didn't have crossplay last year. So I know Tony likes to put those room codes in the chats in Discord. So I'm guessing I'm gonna probably be playing them live at some point in the next week. So looking forward to that. Definitely haven't played any real live play. Just been kind of busy doing my own thing here, running leagues and making sure everything's dotting T's, crossing T's and dotting I's. But we'll see what happens, as that'll be the oldest rivalry renewed in NFL. As we now hit number 28, and I just mentioned this team a couple times in their walloping of me, it's Mark's Cincinnati Bengals. All these players, I think Bates is gone now, but he's got Burrow and Mixon. That's pretty much all he needs, probably. As the Bengals are 1-4, we're 1-4 in summer league. They lost to Green Bay, as mentioned before. Lost to Atlanta 28-22. That was a tough one. Lost in overtime to the Commanders 31-29 in overtime. That was to Ken, who's no longer in the league. He Ended up getting another assignment and decided to move on, which is fine. He let me know well in advance of anything, so that worked out okay. As I know, we do have a new Commanders owner, and I think I already mentioned him. It's the Cobra Chicken. And also the big win over Green Bay for Mark, 29-27, and then ended his bracket play losing to Art and the Arizona Cardinals by 29-28. Definitely seeing good improvements here from Mark. Gonna have a tough one in week one though at the defending champs, the Cleveland Browns of Insane Eric. As I know these guys were in the Brew Crew together in the past, and they're gonna see each other again in the Battle of Ohio. So good luck there. But I know there'll be some good memes and gifts coming out of this one. So I think that'll be a fun matchup just to see. Art. Mark's got nothing to lose there. He's got 4 points of handicap. He just has to, if he hit some big shots, and with the Hail Mary and also with the 2 point conversion this year, you get hot at the end of a round. Who knows? Anything can happen. So that's the beauty of NFL Stableford. We're gonna head to number 27 now. It's another new member, a new member of the league. He was in MLB, but now he's going to be in NFL, and that's the Miami Dolphins of T. Santa Claus. Uh, Tom went 1-3 in the summer league, and it started off the campaign with a 1 point loss to Atlanta. That was tough, but then came back and bounced back nice against Houston, 28-26. Then a tough loss to Jacksonville, 28-24, and then ending his campaign in the consolation bracket, 27-25 to the Bears, which were still owned by Mr. Sangster. As it is, Miami, not really expecting too much. They're in a little bit of a tough division in the AFC East. Carroll's over there with the Patriots. You got the Jets of David Dix. He'll show up in week one. He will. He'll be around. I know he's running his own society with the casuals, but I know he'll be in. He's already messaged me a few times. We already got his course and everything picked out. And then you also have Lofty Ando, who's heading over there from Dallas, who we will be getting into next shortly here. But we're going to talk about that situation as there was a little bit of a team shuffle going on after the summer league. But for Miami, I honestly think no expectations here. Could be a wild card team, could be more. Who knows? I know Thomas can have some really good rounds, and I've seen it in baseball. So, but he's gonna be starting off his season at the LA Chargers of Chinatown. So that's gonna be a big high. I think it's gonna be a high scoring matchup right out of the gate because Chinatown, I know, is raring to go as well. Uh, he loves these types of leagues, and he loves to show what he can do, and he does stream as well. So that's another cool part. But as it is, it's not required to do that. But if you want to know if your opponent's doing what they're wanting to see what the ball is that they're using or whatever, a lot of these guys like to stream just to show off and say, hey, I'm in this league, and I love that. And I like watching them too. I try to watch as many of them as I can. Obviously, if everybody's going to stream, it's going to be tough, but I can't really promise I'm going to be jumping on every stream, but I usually try to catch the VODs and at least, see if there's anything cool or any highlight clips or anything like that. Those can always, you pop those into Discord as well. But we'll see. Thomas doesn't really stream, but I know he's very much in tune with what's going on. And the Dolphins, went from kind of having a long time owner in the league who ended up going over to EA, and it's going to be a fresh start for them in 2023 here in NFL Stableford. As we now hit the number 26, speaking of fresh starts, well, it's the Washington Commanders of Cobra Chicken. In the summer league, they were owned by Ken, but he ended up leaving the league. Washington went 2-1 with Ken. I want to say That doesn't seem right, but the results were a tough loss the first game to Cleveland, 33-30. That was a heck of a game. And I felt kind of bad for Ken. He really put a really good effort out there. Then the loss to the Jets, 28-24, kind of maybe took the wind out of their sails a little bit. And then uh, a big overtime win, 31-29. And then I want to say they lost to Chicago to end their campaign, 26-25 in the consolation bracket. So 26 is the rating for Cobra Chicken. It's not Ken's rating. Ken is no longer in the league, so uh, this is Cobra Chicken's starting point in the rankings, and 2-1's not bad. I mean, he did a good job with the Vikings, taking them over, and we'll get in, and we already talked about what they did already. But as we go on, the first week matchup for the Commanders will be a home game against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, last year, this would have been very much a toss-up, as the Commanders were in definitely a different mode last year, and Art definitely was too. But I see a lot of improvements here from both these teams, and I'm expecting a very good game there. Whereas last year it might have been who's going to get 22 or 23, but I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, as I'm seeing good things from the Cardinals, and I'll be talking about them in a little bit. As we now reach the top 25, we're at 25, and it's none other than the San Francisco 49ers of Mike Bonacore. They're 2-3 in the summer league. Tough loss to start to his buddy Penn Knight, and actually no, it wasn't Penn Knight. Penn Knight's taking this team over. It was Crushtastic, who was Las Vegas in the summer league. Tough 1-point loss there, 30-29. And then another tough loss to Denver by 2, 30-28. And then a big win over the Chargers, 31-28, to end the regular part of Summer League. And then was able to get a big win over the Vikings, 30-27. And then a tough loss to end it to the Cowboys of Loftiando, 30-26. So the 49ers definitely are putting points on the board. They didn't score less than 27 or 26. Just ran into some tough 30-point performances there every game, pretty much, except for the one he put up 30. So we'll see if the defense can stiffen it up a little bit heading into the regular season matchup against Pittsburgh on the road. And that's going to be Pat Strife's return to the Berg, to Acrisure Stadium. So that's going to be a tough one there, I think, right off the bat for the Niners, but you never know. And at the end of the day, like I said, anything can happen in NFL Stableford. Now we reach number 24, and speaking of things that anything can happen, it's the Chicago Bears of Tony, who get the 24th rank, largely on the efforts of Les, as this was based on his performance in the summer league. Um, first first game lost to Tennessee, 28-22. Next, another loss to Pittsburgh by a touchdown, 28-21. And then a tough 1-point loss to Philadelphia. So really not kind of sleepwalking through the first 3 weeks, but then they went on an absolute run in the consolation bracket with wins over Washington, Washington and Miami, and then a tough loss to Art, 24-22 to the Cardinals. So the Bears definitely, got their money's worth before, they left. It was 6 games there for the former owner. But now they're going to be playing Green Bay at home. And that's the statement game right there. Tony's coming in as a fresh player here. I know he's not a huge Bears fan, but I really appreciate him taking over the team, and we're doing a nice friendly rivalry, kind of like how it was in the 90s when the Packers, and Bears kind of split it a little bit. It wasn't like always so one-sided as it kind of is now, but we'll see. The Bears can definitely surprise some people this year, and I don't think any of these players are on their team anymore that are listed here. So that's a team that went through a lot of roster turnover in real life. But now we're going to head to number 23, and let's find out who that's going to be. It's the Dallas Cowboys of Turd Ferguson, another new member to the league, taking over for Lofty, who ended up going to the Buffalo Bills. Turd was a request that I granted from probably one of the best sportsmen in our league, Tag Rocket. Really am glad to have another good player coming in, as I believe Turd is a Kinetic player and he does have his own society and he streams, and I know Tag does as well. So I'm looking to see some toggle action here uh, from Snag Rocket as his friend Turd joins the fray. But these results are from Lofty Ando, so I have nothing to base on Turd right now. But I do have Lofty losing to Jacksonville 31-29 in a tough loss. Then the win over Seattle, which was impressive, 31-30. Then a loss to the Vegas Raiders 27-24. And then they went on an absolute run to win the consolation bracket over the Chargers, the 49ers, and the Cardinals in overtime, 32-30. So big run there for the Cowboys. Well done by Lofty to set up Turd with a nice 23rd ranking. I don't know why he's so low here. Maybe the loss to Vegas and Jacksonville, but honestly, I see Turd bringing this ranking way up. As I think I just maybe had a brain fart on this one, but as it is, these are preseason rankings. Everything's going to change in a week, and it's all good. As we now move to number 22, and this team also had a different owner in Summer League than they have now. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were controlled by Penn Knight, uh, and they did pretty darn good to start off. They won all three of their preseason game or all three of their Summer League games in pretty dominating fashion to get the number one seed. The win over Tampa Bay, 28-24, win over Chicago, 28-21, and then a win over Atlanta, which was probably his toughest opponent, 29-26. But then the Jets knock them out in the round of 16, 28-25. And then Penn throws out the accusation that the game was fixed. Now, I know the Jets probably didn't appreciate that because I'm pretty sure that post did not get a like from me. But I guess I just want to say, like, there is a little bit of not everybody really knows each other well enough, but this was all in good fun, David. And I know Penn, he even said my win in the Winter Classic was fixed, and we know the Admirals don't cheat. We're just good. So at the end of the day, that's the Milwaukee Admirals. So as it is, yeah, it was all in good fun. That's what this league's all about. I mean, it was definitely, I know Penn was a little upset with that loss, I'm sure. But we move forward, and now it's Pat Strife's team, and the Steel Curtain is definitely going to look to raise this ranking from 22 as they start off the season at home against the 49ers. As we now move to Blackjack, number 21. Well, this team has no results at all to speak of, as they did not participate in the Summer League. But this ranking's based on reputation, and it's the Indianapolis Colts of B-Mills. Well, this is a team in turmoil right now in real life, especially with their owner being pretty much nuts. As we go, like, really glad I don't have to talk about them too long. But as the season goes on, I'm sure we're going to be talking about them a lot because B-Mills is a very good player. He's in Platinum and he's an Xboxer, and he's got the Jacksonville Jaguars at home to start the season. So I'm thinking the Colts this year, that division is going to be tough. That AFC South. That's going to be definitely one to watch. You got the Colts, you got the Texans, you got the Titans. I mean, that's three really really good teams. And then you got Jacksonville. So that's a tough division. So could have four playoff teams coming out of there. You never know. But it's going to be interesting to watch in the AFC, as I'm pretty sure that conference is going to be stacked again this year. As we move to number 20, the top 20, don't have too far to go. It's the Arizona Cardinals of Art. A really good ranking here to start the season, to start off. After a nice 3-3 record in the summer league. Put up 31 points in a loss to Denver, 34-31. Big win over Kansas City, 28-26. Lost to Minnesota, that was a tough one, 28-26. That one knocked them out of the round of 16 contention. But then he went on a run in the consolation and took down his good pal Mark from Cincinnati, 29-28. Then beat the Bears, 24-22, and then that loss in the finals to the Cowboys, 32-30 in overtime. Big things coming this way, I think, from the Cardinals. Really like what he's doing with the team. I think he's really minimized a lot of his, issues that he had in previous seasons. And look out, that mouse is going to be hot, I think, as it starts off the season. It's in the desert, so it's got to be hot. As they start off at Washington. Again, that's going to be a very good matchup between two, I think, really up and coming teams in the NFC this season. And now we go to another team that did not have any summer league results, as they were too busy partying down on Bourbon Street, so I just gave that away. Uh, I mean, there's so much to do down there anyway, as it is. The Moulin Rouge, you name it. It's the New Orleans Saints of now Platypus Brigade, taking them over. Moving over from the Titans. Really appreciate him doing that, as Sky Blue Ben has a thing for Sky Blue teams, and he saw that the Titans had Sky Blue, and so he wanted them. So really appreciate that. But now the Saints are going to take on their former team, the Tennessee Titans, at home in the Dome. So it's going to be interesting to see a little bit of a maybe friendly, inadvertent rivalry here between two two teams that aren't too far away geographically, but you don't really relate the Titans and the Saints with anything other than they're both like in the South divisions of their respective conference. But now that there's a little bit of an ownership thing here, I like it. So it's be interesting to see what happens with the Saints going forward here, as I know they've been in the playoffs in the past. Greg was a great owner for them, but he's moved on, and we'll see if Platypus can take them to new heights here in the NFC. As we now move to number 18, and another team that had a little bit of a switch in the summer due to some holidays, but it's the Kansas City Chiefs checking in at number 18. Chinatown ran them in the summer, and these are his results here. Beat Carolina 33-28, lost to Arizona, lost to Cleveland 27-26, and then lost to Cleveland again in the round of 16. Barely eked in, but then lost by a field goal in a tough matchup there. I think Chinatown's going to be fine. His flirtation with the Chiefs is pretty much done, as Ty Lannister definitely deserves to have them back, as he's been with the league from the beginning. He's actually posted that he's a huge Chiefs fan, and he's made the playoffs with them on a couple occasions already too. So we do have Chinatown moving to a different location, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But as it is, the Chiefs will start the season kicking it off on NBC Thursday night football, baby, against the Detroit Lions at Arrowhead. That's going to be a good one to kick off. Big expectations this year for Detroit in real life, and I think CF definitely has them on the right track. Probably has to be considered the favorite in the NFC North, as everybody else is kind of either new or having issues. So But Kansas City, they're in a tough division as well. Denver's always tough. Vegas with Penn moving over there is going to be tough. And then you also have another another tough AFC West team in the Chargers. As we now move to number 17, well, their mascot is black, and they also didn't have any results in the summer league, so really like no, actually they're purple and black. But the Ravens, pretty dark. They didn't have any results. Not really much to say other than welcome back, Eddie. Glad you're back. You're in a tough division again. AFC North. You got Pat Strife. You got you got Insane Eric. You got yourself, and you got Pittsburgh. I already said Pittsburgh. It's a tough division, no matter any way you look at it. And they made the playoffs last year, so you got to give credit to Baltimore for being able to always find a way to get the job done. And then you got Cincinnati. Sorry, Mark, I didn't want to leave you hanging there. But as is number 17, it's the Baltimore Ravens. They're this high because of their reputation of being in a tough division year in and year out. And they're going to be playing Houston to start the season at home. A very good matchup right off the bat with a team that's very much improving in Houston. You can't look past them if you're Baltimore. Baltimore, might have been a little bit of a hangover here from a long off season. So we'll see what happens there. But we're heading into the number 16 spot. So we're halfway home. Hope you're enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying bringing it to you. These rankings, I haven't done them in a while, and just a way to get some good banter going about the league and talk about the LA Chargers, who are now owned by Chinatown. Trevor was the owner in the summer league. These are his results. Lost to the Rams 31-26. Beat Tampa 25-21. Lost to the Niners 31-28. Then made a little bit of a run in the consolation. Big win over Carolina 33-24, and then losing to the eventual consolation champions, the Dallas Cowboys 27-25. So not bad. I mean, Trevor is on standby for any substitution duties if somebody were to have to miss a week or something. So he's still involved, which I'm glad to hear about that. I actually did offer him an ownership spot, but he declined, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's just too much. But as is, we got the Chargers coming in off a playoff berth last year. Old Man Gaming had them, and he actually did make a nice run, but I think he ended up going to EA. And now we got Chinatown taking them over. Not too far from his haunts, I believe. I think he's a West Coast guy. So we'll see how it goes as they take on the Miami Dolphins at home to start off the season. Now, Chinatown definitely going to be wanting to make a run in that AFC. I could see him being one of the last 2 or 4 standing in that conference, just by how he's been playing lately. I remember when he was number 1 ranked in this league as the Las Vegas Raiders when he first joined, because Charlie Kelly from Platinum ran the table, like basically went undefeated. Nobody could touch the guy. Ended up winning the Super Bowl. Played at a hugely tough course, and I think it was 2K21. And then Chinatown took it over, and he was the number 1 ranked team. And I think he proceeded to lose right away. So he ended up dropping down the list. But for 1 week, he was number 1. I'll never forget that. And I don't think Chinatown will either if he gets back there again, because I have a feeling it could maybe happen this year. He's that much improved. It's great to see over the years guys improving. And I'm just going backwards. So you got to love that. But we now move to number 15. Hopefully my shows are getting better. I mean, I'd rather be good at that, I guess. But it's the Philadelphia Eagles of another new member to the league, Casey Orange Aggie. Taking over for Zuby, who ended up leaving for Tampa Bay, his hometown team. Uh, this is all Casey here. Win over the Jets. That was huge, 30-29 to start his ownership. Then losing by a field goal to the Browns, 31-28. Win over the Bears, 24-23, got them into the round of 16, where they ended up losing in the first game to Denver, 28-27, in a tough one. Really think Casey's going to be fine. I think he's going to do fine in this league. He starts off at New England. The NFC East, though, is going to be tough. You got Tag Rocket or Snag Rocket, however you want to, depending on the day. You got Turd now in there with Dallas. And then you got the Cobra Chicken with Washington. So that's a tough division. But I know Orange Aggies up for the challenge, and I believe he's an elite now, so he's definitely been making good strides on Xbox. So we'll see how this season goes for, well, the future home of WrestleMania 40, the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. As we go to number 14, the home of AEW now, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars of Dr. Bing. Good to have him, another new owner in the league from the Brew Crew. Love to see it. They ended up 2-2 in Summer League. They made the round of 16. Big win to start off against Dallas, 31-29. That was a nice win. Then losing to Detroit, 26-22. The offense kind of went away there a little bit, but then got it back against Miami, 28-24 win there, and then losing to probably one of the admins of the Brew Crew, one of the Godfathers, Sky Blue Ben's Tennessee Titans, took them down in the round of 16, 30-27. So not a bad summer league for Dr. Bing to start off. Mark did a good job, I thought, and I think he's going to do just fine in Jacksonville. He starts off at Indianapolis, so it's going to be a tough one right off the bat. But I could see him settling in really nicely into that division. I really think between him and Houston, it's going to be a real battle for maybe a wild card spot there. I think the AFC is just going to be tough in general. So, but if Jacksonville can keep putting 31s on the board, they'll be just fine. So glad to have the doctor in the league, and I think it's going to be a great fit in Jacksonville. As we now go to number 13, is it lucky or not? It's the team that we're talking about. It's the New England Patriots. So I don't think Belichick believes in any superstitions, but maybe Carroll does. I don't know. But it's good to have another new owner in the league from the Brew Crew. It's Carroll from the Brew Crew, 2-2. She went in the season. I was going to say Inglorious Bastards, but I don't think she runs it anymore. I think it's got new ownership now. But as it is, a tough loss to start in overtime to the Taft Man of Houston, 33-31, or Tafetta. Big win for him there. But then she beat me to start off. I gave her first win in the NFL Stableford League, so got to feel good about that. I don't, but she should. 29-23. It was a commanding victory. Then a big win over the Titans of Ben, 26-25. And then a tough loss in the round of 16 to the Rams of Kevin, 27-25. So overall, not a bad summer league, not a bad introduction to NFL Stableford for Carroll. I really think that the AFC East, I think it's pretty wide open, honestly, for a division title there. Going to start off at home against the Eagles, so you really want to start off hot. Especially, the thing is, it's a interconference game, so the tiebreakers really won't be too much affected by this. But you really want to make a statement in your first game, and we'll see if she can do that. Here in the number 13 spot, as we move to number 12 now, and I just mentioned Tafetta. It is the Houston Texans of Paul, who also went 2-2 in summer league. Big win again over Carroll in that first game for him. Then a tough loss to Miami, 28-26. Then a big bounce back against the Giants of Tag Rocket, 27-26. Got the Snag Rocket by 1 there. And then a loss to the Seahawks, 34-27. Ran into an absolute buzzsaw in Chris and the Seahawks in that round of 16 matchup. But not a bad summer league for Paul. Houston's looking to have a bounce back season after what happened last year. I guess word is that the heads are going to maybe roll here if things don't improve. But he's got the stream up and running. He's got Tafetta all decked out. I think the Texans are going to be fine, but they're going to be playing at Baltimore, so it's going to be a tough one right out of the gate. So maybe week 2 might be better, but we'll see. Baltimore has been on the sidelines for a little while, so we'll see what happens. But I really think the Texans are fired up this year with a brand new look and the number 12 ranking, so they're obviously doing pretty good here. As we now move to number 11. Let's find out who's next. We go to the NFC. We go to Prouse. We go to Sean. It's the Atlanta Falcons. Now the Falcons went 2-2 as well in summer league. First started off with a win over Miami, 26-25. Then beat the Bengals, 28-22. And then they ended up losing to the Steelers by a field goal, 29-26. And then lost in their opening game in the round of 16 to Detroit, 35-31. Wow, CF really went off in that one. And that was all she wrote for the Falcons. But they're coming off a heartbreaking season where they barely missed out on a playoff berth, I believe, in the NFC South. I mean, that was a division, that was a logjam all the way into the last week. So I think this year the Falcons have to be considered the favorite. Maybe the Saints as well. But they start off their season against Carolina in week 1 at home. Can't look past Polecat. Sometimes he gets you. And I think this is a pretty good rivalry here. And I think Atlanta, at the end of the day, definitely going to be looking to get in the playoffs this year. And just outside the top 10 at number 11 shows their strength here. As we now move to number 10, this guy's been pretty popular in my broadcasting streams today. I think I mentioned him a couple times already. It's none other than the Las Vegas Raiders of now Penn Knight, but in the summer league they were controlled by Crushtastic, who is taking a sabbatical from the league after being in the league for I think the first 4 seasons, but he's moved on to retirement, and we really wish him well from down under there. But as it is, Penn Knight's going to take over, but we'll see the results from Crush. He beat San Francisco, his old team, 30-29. Then lost to the Rams in a tough one, 30-29. Boy, those could have gone either way, really, both of them. And then he, got to make old acquaintances with his NFC West pals. Then you got the Dallas Cowboys, who he beat 27-24 to get into the round of 16, where Tag Rocket took him down by a safety, 30-28, but big 2-point win. Actually, by a 2-point conversion, we'll call it that. So Vegas is in the number 10 spot. So Penn's looking pretty good here to start off, but he's going to have a tough matchup in week 1 at Denver, who's given the Raiders fits in this league. So we'll see what happens. A solid 3-1 record though, that Crush put up for them, and we'll see if Penn can get his hometown team back to the playoffs. They've already won this league. The Raiders have. It's the season nobody really talks about, but it did happen. It was kind of like a fly-by-night operation. He won the league, and then I don't think I ever heard from him again. But as it is, we now move to number 9. Speaking of someone I haven't heard from, all the blue, it's like Jets. I'm like, are you coming back? Yeah, I guess so. And so is Rodgers to the Jets of David Dix Jr., who kind of just showed up in August out of nowhere. And now is back in the league. And it's okay. He's not really very active when it comes to Discord. And you don't have to be in this league as long as you post your scores. And he's been in the league since the beginning as well. So the Jets just started off the season with a tough 1-point loss to Philly. And then a big win against Washington, 28-24. Then a loss to Tampa, 28-27. Barely eked into the round of 16 where they had the upset win over Pittsburgh, 28-25. But then the team forgot to show up and got blanked by the Rams, 31-rock. So, yeah, that's a tough goal of it there. Honestly, it's a summer league, so I'm not going to really read too much into it. I'm guessing he probably had something else going on or whatever. Other team activities. But the Jets get the number nine power rank based a lot on, just some of their past history, but also, they've been a good team in this league in the past, and they've made the playoffs before, and have had some really rotten luck running into some really tough teams. And they're going to start off with a tough team in week 1 in the Buffalo Bills. The Bills Mafia is going to be ready to go as they were on the sidelines for Summer League, probably going out and getting tables prefabbed, getting ready for the new season. So it's going to be interesting to see how Buffalo does, as that's going to be, I believe that's an early matchup to start. That's going to be tough. That's going to be a big in-state rivalry game right out of the gate. So, but we'll see if the Jets can improve on this number 9 ranking. They got to show up though to do it. So I'm hoping that they do, and I have full confidence that I'm sure they will. So we move to number 8, and that's the aforementioned Bills Mafia, the Buffalo Bills, who didn't play it down in Summer League, but they're getting number 8 based on the reputation of Lofty Ando and how well he did in Summer League in the consolation. So he had a 4-2 record, so that was his coaching record. But Buffalo does not get any results as they did not actually compete. But as we move on, it's at the Jets in week 1, and that's going to be a battle at MetLife. As we now move to number 7, lucky number 7. Well, will it be lucky for CF? The Detroit Lions. Big expectations in real life, and I believe in this NFL Stableford League, as they ended up going 3-2. A tough loss starting off to the Giants by 1 in overtime, 30-29. Then they ripped off 3 straight wins over Jacksonville, Carolina, and Atlanta, all by 4 points. Atlanta, they scored 35 in the opening round of the round of 16, and then ran into the defending champs and took the L in the quarterfinals, 25-23. So they start off at Kansas City. It's it's well documented already that that's the opener. CF's had some ups and downs in this league. Like, he's had a couple rough years. I believe me and him have made the playoffs together a couple times, and we've also had our lean years as well. I think the Bears were our representative last year out of our division. So big bounce back I'm looking to see out of CF. I think he's moved up a couple flights above me now, so definitely starting to move into the high rent district there. So we'll see if the Lions can keep moving up here in the number 7 spot. As we now go to number 6, and let's find out who we have there, as we have a visitor here to the booth. Let me take care of this visitor, and then I will be right back here with the number 6 spot. And I will let you know that it's obviously the Seattle Seahawks. And it's the Seattle Seahawks of a returning NFL Stableford member, and that's Chris Orso Grande, 89. Was in the league a few seasons ago, kind of lost track of him, and now he's back, and he's kicking butt. That's going to be bad news for the NFC West, as they went 3-2 in Summer League, a big win over Minnesota by 8 points. Then a loss to Dallas, 31-30, which that was a shootout. Then a win over Green Bay, 29-26, and then a big win over Houston, 34-27. So he made a nice run. Then I believe he ended up losing in the following matchup to the Rams. I believe the Rams knocked him out. No, was it the Rams? Let me look here. I kind of got my wires crossed here. Nope, I think Tennessee knocked them out, 29-27. I just forgot to write that one down. But Chris, heck of a run. We'll be starting off with a division rivalry right away with the Rams at home. Wow, talk about making an entrance and just coming in and just bringing in a dynamic play right out of the gate. That offense is really moving the ball and putting points on the board. So look out. As we now head to the number 5 team in these preseason power rankings, I'm enjoying them here so far. And I think the Denver Broncos will be as well as they move into that number 5 position. 4-1 in the summer league, winning over the Cardinals in the opener, 34-31, and then a win over San Francisco, 30-28. So putting big numbers on the board right away. Then a big 1-point win over the Rams, 28-27, which could have been a minor upset there. I mean, those teams are pretty close though. Both of them, Denver. I mean, Austin's actually, I think, a platinum player. And Kevin might as well be. I mean, he's up there. He's been back and forth all the platinum. Then you got the Eagles, 28-27, big win there, another close one. And then the loss to the Giants, 30-25. It seems like Denver always has that Denver Giants rivalry. That goes all the way back to that Super Bowl that the Giants beat them in, where they just basically, ate their lunch. But as it is, Denver still, they're going to be AFC West favorites. They usually are every year. I mean, but I think Kansas City ended up knocking them off this past year. So it's going to be interesting as they start off with a division rival right away in Las Vegas. But it's in Mile High, so we'll see. Penn's got his work cut out for him there. As we now head to the Final Four, we're in the 4th spot. If you haven't heard your name yet, well, who do you think it is? It's the Tennessee Titans of Sky Blue Ben. Titan Blue, looking good on him as he's 4-2. He was 4-2 in the summer league, so he got his money's worth. He got to play 6 games, so double his regular slate. And he started off by beating the Bears 28-22. Then that low-scoring game against the Vikings 21-17. Then a loss to Carroll and the Patriots 26-25. Beat the Jaguars of Dr. Bing in the first round. In the round of 16, 30-27. Then the big win over the Seahawks, 29-27. And then the loss to the Rams, 31-29. So no shortage of points here other than that one game, which was kind of an anomaly for the Titans. But I see Sky Blue Ben making another nice playoff run with those guys. He's going to be very fired up to be repping that Sky Blue down in Nashville this year. And he gets to start it off by taking on his the old team owner in New Orleans on the road. So that could be a pitfall right off the bat. You never know when you go on the road. So especially in NFL Stableford, it's definitely not a gimme. As we now move to the top 3, and well, brown is kind of like a bronze medal, but it's got the brown tint. But it's the Cleveland Browns of Insane Eric, who went 5-1 in summer league. Very impressive. Just had the one loss, and that was in the semifinals to the Giants, 30-29. But the run was the run to the finals or to the semifinals consisted of wins over the Commanders, 33-30, the Eagles, 31-28, back-to-back wins over Kansas City, 27-26 and 34-31. And then a big win over Detroit, 25-23, to get to that semifinal where they lost by 1 to Tag Rocket, 30-29. So is this a changing of the guard here in the new season? I guess we'll have to find out. But you'll never be able to take that championship away from the Browns, as it was well deserved with that big Super Bowl win over the Dallas Cowboys last year of Sky Blue Ben. And now it's funny that they're ranked right next to each other here in the preseason rankings. But the Cleveland will have the Battle of Ohio in week 1 at home against the Bengals to celebrate their Super Bowl victory and hang that banner or whatever they do in Cleveland. I don't know. They haven't ever won anything, so I mean, who knows what the tradition is there. The Cavaliers did win something. I don't want to be that, and the Indians did. We don't call them that anymore. They're the Guardians now. So, but as we go to number 2, a nice segue from the Browns there. To the LA Rams at number 2 of Kevin. Now, Kevin went 5-2. He ended up losing in the championship of the Summer League to the number 1 team, which I'm sure you can all guess by process of elimination. But we'll wait until we actually unveil it. But the Rams ended up winning over the Chargers. They're crosstown rivals, 31-26. Well, actually, the same city rivals. They beat the Vegas Raiders 30-29. Lost to Denver 28-27. Then went on a little bit of a run here, beating the Patriots 27-25 in overtime. The win over the Jets was first, actually, in the round of 16. Then I believe they beat the Patriots. Actually, no, I'm not really sure if that. Yeah, I think that's the right order. Yeah, I think it is. It was the Patriots, and then I think it was the Jets, because the Jets had beaten the Steelers first. So that was the quarterfinal win over the Jets, which was a shutout. And then they went to the semifinals and beat Tennessee 31-29. And then the loss to the number 1 team and number 1 in our hearts, the New York Football Giants are your number 1 team in the NFL Stableford League after the Summer League and before week 1. Just to wrap up on the Rams, they did lose in that championship 27-21 to Tag Rocket. So Kevin, basically picking up where he left off last year, he was a playoff team. I think he ended up making a run to I think he ended up losing in the NFC Championship game to the Cowboys. I thought he got that far. But now he'll have to take on the Seattle Seahawks on the road. And this is kind of like Street Fighter, where like, hey, a new challenger awaits. This is going to be a new challenge for Kevin, I think, because Art's getting better in the NFC West with Arizona. Seattle's going to be tough. And the 49ers with Bogey Bonacor, he always gives a pretty good effort. So that NFC West is going to be tough this year. Whereas in years past, it might have been a 2-horse race with usually the Rams and probably the 49ers. But I don't know. This year, I think it's really going to be tough to call in that division. I think that one's going to be probably the most improved division of all of them. But we go to the number 1 team, and it's the New York Football Giants, a 6-1 record in Summer League, very impressive. Started off with a tight win in overtime over CF in Detroit, 30-29. Then a blowout over the Panthers, 31-23. Tough loss to the Texans, 27-26. May have been distracted by Tafetta, but that may be reports saying that. Then the win over the Vegas Raiders, 30-28. A win over Denver after that to move on in I believe that was a quarterfinal game, 30-25. Then another 30 put up against the Browns in the semifinals. And then that was 30-29. And then the Rams victory, 27-21, as the Giants did it with defense in that Summer League championship game. So we'll see if they can do it with defense again in week 1, as they'll be taking on the Dallas Cowboys at MetLife, a very tough place to play. But it's a whole different ball game now. It's a different rivalry as these two know each other pretty well. I have a feeling they're going to play this one live, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be worth tuning in to watch this NFC East clash, as the Giants and Cowboys are probably going to be nip and tuck for that NFC East division all season long. Some of these division matchups, some of these division rivalries this year are going to be epic. Like just with some of the new blood and the new players that we have, a lot of the streaming that's happening and crossplay now being in the mix. Like you love to see it, but as it is, I'm not requiring it. I'm just saying it's an option that's out there for people that want to play live and play in a casual environment there. It's one round a week, and I think that's what makes the NFL Stableford what it is. I'm not asking you to play 4 rounds and in a week. It's one round, and it's Stableford, so it's not like a bad hole is going to ruin you. You can have maybe 1 or 2 bad holes, but you can bounce back and make it up on the back 9 if you have a bad front 9. So there's always ways to get your, I want to say the words at the tip of my tongue. Not I was going to say retribution. Like no, you're not getting retribution. You're getting salvation, really. Like you get like another pass. Like if you have a bad front 9, if you have a bad first half, like say just nothing goes your way, you can always come back in the second half and have a great rest of your round and still win the game. That's the best part of NFL, in my opinion, is yes, it doesn't take the totality of the entire round like some other leagues that I run or am a part of. But in the NFL, games can turn on a dime. And it's really hard. Like you can have 30-point comebacks in the NFL. You've seen that happen last year, like around Christmas with, with the Vikings. Uh, if you haven't watched that Dorktown video yet about that was a heck of a video there about the Vikings. I think it's like a 7-part series. But yeah, I think they documented that game in one of their videos. But there's so much going on right now with the NFL. Don't get bombarded. Just have fun. If you have any questions, please reach out to me personally via the forums or on Discord. I really hope everybody has a great 2023 season. These are the initial rankings. These are going to change drastically as the year goes on, but this is basically a starting point. But I'm done talking. I really hope you enjoyed this. I went through every team. I tried to give the best analysis I could based on what I know and what I've seen. And I really do wish you all the best of luck, except when you're playing against the Packers. So on that note, this is Lefty79, the commissioner of the NFL Stableford League, once again bidding you farewell, and I'll see you after week 1 with another power ranking show. Goodbye, and take care, everybody.